Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here at Out Summit to lead this interesting conversation to reflect about how we're building digital culture and how it's impacting us. Firstly, let me share with you something personal and a little bit human, just in case you see me with my eyes a little bit lost or a little bit nervous. But I'm going to show you how it's important for me, the technology, because I'm hearing impaired. So without my headphones, it wouldn't be possible for me to be here, to connect, to communicate, and to build my human and personal relationships. I want to aware that just now that you know about my discapacity, it's just to know if I don't hear properly in one moment, it's because of this situation. So let's start before presenting our fantastic, friends, I can say, participants, to talk about this interesting topic. I see you a little bit sleepy, maybe, and I can understand it's logical, because it's afternoon. So let's do a little dynamic to bring our attention here and to focus in now and here, in the present. So please, find the person you have in front of you or on your side and put your hands over each shoulders. Yeah? And now start moving the hands a little bit and give the person a little massage.
Oh,
and give all the energy. Yeah. We want to wake up a little bit because we want to be super attention to this conversation.
And very human.
It's good, eh?
Very human.
Wake you up, huh?
Yes.
Right?
Great start. I love it.
Fantastic. Now we are here in the present moment, which is the most important thing. So before presenting them, my dear friends, I'm going to present myself. And I'm going to explain why I'm here. Maybe you are thinking, why? Who is she to present this panel? Well, my name is María de León Castillejo, and I have been working in communications for 20 years. And also, I have a deep training in humanities, coaching, leadership, ethics, and yoga. That's why I'm here, because in 2017, I received an inner call when I read the news of the suicide of a young influencer from Spain. And I was totally shocked. And in that moment, to be sincere, with no expectations, I also was and became an influencer. I built a community of more than 128,000 people. But to be sincere, I don't feel very comfortable to call myself an influencer, because I think this is a term that the people should decide that you became an influencer, because it's the consequence of what you do. Well, for me, it's a big responsibility when you have a big community. And I like to focus in share the most valuable content that I can, so I can help people to grow in a positive way, which for me means the influence. It's not about showing how good I look or what I have or what cool things I do, no? Finally, for me, to be an influencer, it means that you have the responsibility to leave a good mark in your virtual community. So that's why I decided to launch and develop different projects of digital education to promote this change into a more use in a humanistic way of the social media, so we can build a more healthy, professional, ethical digital culture. For me, the key to become a good influencer, what I call a referencer, is one of the names of my project, is the humanistic education. And also the other project that I developed is Think to Be You, which for me is the key for success. When you are connected with yourself and you realize that what you do is totally aligned with your essence, what you are meant to do and meant to be. Otherwise, it's impossible, from my point of view, to reach the fullness. So whether we realize it or not, digital culture permeates every aspect of our lives, making participation inevitable, and every interaction subtly influences us. Just as traditional cultures are modeled by values, beliefs, and norms, digital culture is shaped by the same. And we are going to talk about this with the perfect people. Yeah. Nice to meet, and thank you to be here. He's Rafael Camilo, who works as Director of Brand Strategy, Innovation, and Content at X. We know about, well, it's antique Twitter.
Yes.
And Facundo Bollino, who is Creative Director at Future Brand Spain. Welcome to this conversation.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much to be here. And the first question I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to start with this, for example, to you, Rafael. How can we train our site to build a more humanistic digital culture?
Yeah, so first of all, hello everyone. I think that when we have, I think the most important thing for us as human beings is the ability that we have for empathy, right?
Yeah.
So it's through empathy that we get to know each other. It's through empathy that we connect ourselves. It's through empathy that we are able to, I don't know, to reflect and to put yourselves in the place of someone else and to understand how they wanted to be treated. So I think that being and having this empathy, carrying along empathy into everything that you do, especially talking about digital behavior, I think is the most important thing. So I would say that having that as a core value, because nowadays it's super hard for us to, you know, to keep on having empathy with each other. Especially, I feel that after the pandemic, when there was that myth that we would get so much better after the pandemic, right? But truth is, I think we're all somewhat broken after the pandemic. And I think that at the core of this, of being broke on that regard, is that we have lost somewhat the ability to connect with each other. So I think that when you are empathetic and you are really curious about the person that you're talking to, you want to discover what are their passions, what you want to connect with, I think that this would be like what's core and a cornerstone for you to be and to connect at a human level to someone.
Which brings also compassion with others, right?
Of course, yes.
Because it's very important when somebody shows the vulnerability.
Yes.
And do you think it's possible that with the screen?
Yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard because through social media, we're only showing a portion of our lives. And I think that especially with social media, the video, with photo, we just want to showcase the most ideal life that we have. We don't want to share our failures. We don't want to share our struggles. But this is, in fact, is what connects us. But it takes a lot of courage, as you said. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of nerve. But I think that's where the most meaningful connections, they are born.
We will talk about also some more tips about the content to make it valuable a little bit after, because I want to know your vision too, Facundo.
Well, there's a definition I like very much about what a brand is. That is, it's not my definition. A brand is what others say about you when you're not in the room. It's from Jeff Bezos from Amazon, so it's not mine. But I also like to add that a brand is what others are saying about you, on how you make them feel. So there's this human aspect. And you were talking, Maria, before about responsibility, and you, Rafael, you were talking about empathy. And the thing is that what others say about us, it could be very, very hard. And we are very exposed on the definitions and assumptions and thoughts from others, right? That's one of the things that social media put on the table. It's a good thing in terms that it increases the relationships, but also exposes us a lot. As brands, but also as people, and especially as people, it could be something very hard to carry on with. In terms of brand, what we find that is very useful to tackle that challenge is to always build through authenticity. Because authenticity is something that you build from within, inside out, and that brings you originality, brings you confidence, and if you don't behave as an authentic brand of our authentic people, you're always very vulnerable to the trends, what is happening out there, what they are saying about me. And you tend to, and this is something that most brands do, that is the greenwashing, the purpose washing,
Totally.
the pink washing, all the trends. They want to say everything, be everywhere. And people, they feel that. That is, yeah, no, that's not
it's
real.
Fake.
That's fake. Yes, that's BS, right? So it's difficult to shape or to be shaped. In a brand point of view, we think that authenticity is
So as you talk about authenticity, can you share with the audience some tips that can help to create a brand more authentic? What would you say which is important?
Yeah, definitely. The definition I said before, the Jeff Bezos one, that applies to everybody, a brand or a person, right?
Yeah.
And for us, to build the authenticity, first of all, is to know yourself as a basic, as a human being, but also in a company is very complex because you need to gather everybody around to find a common definition for a large company, so it's hard. And that's why many brands, they fail when they are communicating in social network because they don't get, they don't build the bridges and get to a final definition of what the brand is going to be. But the first tip is to build on the origin. To be original, right? It's because you are connected with who you are, where you come from, your beliefs, how did you were raised, your values, your core self. That makes you, right? There's no one like you because you're original, but you need to connect to what you are, and that will bring you clarity on what to say, how to say it, with whom I want to relate with, in which purposes I'm going to. Connect with or not. So that would be, there are many tips, but that would be tip number one. Be original, know yourself, and be coherent and responsible to what you really are.
Yeah, and if I may add on what Facundo was just saying about authenticity, I feel that also brands and people, they're afraid of showing their most authentic selves currently. Especially brands, I feel.
Totally.
And again, I like to refer a lot to pandemic because I think it was this inflection point. There are a lot of behaviors that started to arise. And I think that because brands started to be so short-termist and super worried about results, and also people worried about if we were going to live the next day, I think that as we're looking things in this short-term perspective, it's almost like we're moving backwards towards this more traditional, more conservative approach, strategy. So being authentic, it's somewhat very edgy nowadays, but it's definitely worth it. So if you take, for example, some brands that are super authentic on the timeline, and I will speak on behalf of the platform that I work at, if you get like Duolingo, for example, it's a super authentic brand, and they're like, on all the jokes, they're laughing about themselves, because I think that being authentic has also this component of you not taking yourself too seriously, because I think that now we always take ourselves too seriously. So when you're able to get that, and because you have this very solid background, this solid positioning, this solid value proposition, being authentic is almost like a consequence of how you deal and how you showcase yourself to the world.
That's why I named my project "Think to Be You," because it's like a message, no? How is authenticity important to reach that goal, and also to be happy with yourself. And what about diversity? I know that for you it's important value, and I would like to know if you think tech businesses are reaching that goal to be more diverse and to promote that and to support.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a long way still. I wish that I could be here and say that We have increased by, I don't know, 50, 70% the number of women in tech, the number of LGBTQI plus people in tech or black people in tech. But unfortunately, it's not the reality yet. And also, I feel that this was another area that I felt a setback as well. Because again, the companies, they are worrying so much about the results, about thinking about the short term, that it's almost as if, oh, we can talk about diversity or ESG a bit later. Let's talk about the results. Let's talk about our revenue. So I think we definitely have to talk more about that. We have to advance and to progress towards that, because I feel that we have some advance on that regard, especially diverse, but it's still in the lower level of the companies. I think we have a lot to grow on the manager level, on the director level, on the board level. So, I mean, when you take a look at the board level, the numbers are insane. It's bizarre how we're still perpetuating the stereotype of the white, cisgender, straight man taking care and taking all of the decisions, and the decision based on their bias and not being reflective of their audience. Because this is why diversity is so important, is how you can be representative with your audience. And this means, of course, being profitable.
Mm-hmm. And what about creativity, Facundo? Because it's the focus of your job, and there is a big fear now that AI can steal the creativity of the humans. Yeah. So what should we do for not losing the essence that we have as humans, and to make a difference? Sorry.
It's the hot topic everywhere. I've been to many of the talks, and AI is everywhere. And yeah, one may say, and in the creativity industry, the first reaction was kind of pain, and what is going to happen? Everybody's going to lose their jobs. I believe that AI is here to stay. We are just seeing the first waves, and this is going to be a big revolution, kind of what happened with digital revolution or what happened before with the industrial revolution. And the first reaction is okay, now let's see what is going to happen. But no one can replace the humanity, the human part of the work. There is one thing that I always like is that AI can't resolve all what clients need, because sometimes clients don't know what to ask. They don't know what they need. And for that, you need that human touch. We always say that in branding, it's kind of a therapy, because we need to get to know the people, the business, and know what they are going to need in terms of to then propose a creativity. But AI is going to be here, and it's going to help us in processes and everything, as machines did before, as webs did before, and it's going to be a powerful tool. But yeah, it can't replace what human, like empathy, authenticity. AI is a pattern maker. It always enriches from other inputs, and we as people, we make connections that a machine can do.
Mm-hmm. And let's have a talk about now character and figure that has an important role in shaping digital culture, which are influencers.
Yes.
I would like to ask both of you, what do you think, if they are playing the role in a good way, they are dealing with responsible influence, how it should change, or how do you see also the future of the influencers?
Yeah, I love talking that, because I get to work with influencers in my work. So I have the opportunity to meet a lot of influencers across Latin America. And I see that there's this hot topic right now about their responsibility. So for example, in Brazil right now, there is this thing going on about, and I think this is worldwide, the betting brands. So you go there, invest some money, like with the promise and with the hopes that you'll get 10x in regards to what you just invested. So there are influencers making a lot of money with bet brands. But there's having this discussion as to how much responsible is that? You conveying this message to your audience, promising that they will earn a lot of money, when in fact it's the influencers that are getting a lot of money, because those brands, they have a lot of money. So there has been having this discussion across Latin America as to you have to be responsible and you have to be aware of the reality of your audience. So I think that because we have this surge, we just had this surge of influencers, I think that now there are more boundaries as to you being responsible to your message, you having to pinpoint whether a content it is or not an advertisement content. But I think that the future will pretty much revolve around the fact that how you can connect to your audience in a meaningful way, but also being very honest, because the people are there to listen to you, to hear you, to see you, and like they believe in everything that you said in a way. Of course, we're not saying that people are stupid or dumb, but I think that it's almost as if those people they have this very strong connection. So for brands, for example, reaching different audiences, it's pivotal for you to have influencers on your strategy. And I would say that also thinking about the creator economy, which is a hot topic right now as well, creators, they are starting to part into different businesses and open their own businesses. And again, in Brazil, for example, there are a lot of female influencers opening their own brands and companies of beauty brands. And they're earning a lot of money as well, but they are manufacturing their own products. So I think that also, I see that two different things here. I think more responsibility under the influencer, and also influencers seeing themselves as entrepreneurs, which I think is amazing, because I think that sometimes we tend to underestimate this knowledge and this capacity that the influencer can have as well in terms of business.
That's why I like to make the difference between also referencers. That for me, what makes the difference is the purpose, the meaningful activity that you have. It's not only to look for your benefits, it's also to think about the benefits and the positive impact that you can do in your community, no? And, and what about you, Facundo?
No, it's the same either for brands or for people. If you are an influencer or referencer and you are aware that people look up to you and they want to see your life, what you do, what the products you use, you need to be responsible of that influence you have. And also this happened with brands too. So, and I think people is getting more aware of that power, and is also getting more aware of the BS of that, and it's hopefully going to demand more responsibility for brands and for influencers. That is, hey, this relationship is not about just money or you trying to selling me stuff. But I really want to see that you believe in what you are doing, challenging, proposing me, the products you are using, that they are true, they're going to be beneficial for me. Because if not, you're going to pay the consequences.
It's important that we amplify the consciousness from the part of the companies and also the people that influence. And there are two concepts that I like to make the difference between popularity and reputation, because many people is crazy, especially young people, to be popular because it's more regarded, the likes, comments and all of this, and also, well, money and fame, but at the same time, reputation is much more valuable, but it's not so well regarded because it's not tangible. How can we make it more tangible? More materialistic, and like people realize and regard in a better way the reputation, which is, from my point of view, much more important than popularity.
Yeah, I think it's more valuable because I think that popularity is something that it's now, you are popular now, whereas if you have reputation, it means that you will prosper and you will be remembered for something in the future, right? So I think that I think we must have this conversation. And also I think the influencers, they will reflect about that when they will, I don't know, start to be more conscious about what they are conveying and what brands they are partnering with. And again, the bad example, it means that they are popular right now, but does it mean that another big brand will reach out for them in the future to talk about, I don't know, a DEI campaign or a powerful message? I'm not sure, because we want people who are responsible. So I think that reputation, and I think that this also touches this thing in this division in the influencer world as to you have influencers and sometimes you have celebrities.
Yeah.
So I think that celebrities, they are much more aware of their reputation, of their career, and their impact in the world. So I agree with you. We have to move towards reputation so that we can leave an impact and leave a positive impact.
Yeah, popularity perhaps is more ephemeral and more specific in time, and reputation is something you build in time with consistency, and you live up to the promise you establish and with your relationship. So reputation is very hard to get, and it needs time and efforts within a consistency of time.
Yeah, and just as a small funny thing, I was walking here in the streets of Madrid, and then there was a store, and there was a phrase written that teachers are the best influencers. So I think the reputation comes also from there, because teachers don't want to be popular, they don't want to be famous, they want to leave an impact in the lives of the students and the people they're teaching to. So I think this is also a very good metaphor in terms of reputation and popularity.
Well, let's close this conversation, because I'm very sad this has to finish with love. How can we spread more love through social media? We have to finish.
2 minutes over.
It's our time. I'm sorry, I wanted to close with that. If you can say a word.
I think we can spread love by becoming more conscious about what we do and how we want to, the power that we have to affect people's lives, and not to hide ourselves, think that we're hiding ourselves behind an avatar, behind an handle, and being responsible for the messages that we are spreading to the world, because it's about, again, it's about empathy, I would say.
For me, it's authenticity. If you're authentic, then you're going to be feeling yourself great, and you're going to have healthy relationships.
Thank you, guys, for being here, and thank you very much for the audience.